fashion centers, fashion accessories, and we have multiple outlets that we sell them. We are into development, property development, so we have construction company and we build apartments and we rent them. I write books.
Okay, now you've run over all of that very quickly. I want you to rewind and just give us, one or two strap lines under each of those headings that you've said to us that you're actually involved in. Okay, so rewind.
All right. So, we are into fashion. So anybody who has come to Ghana, you go to Accra Mall, we have outlets there. Outlet there, you go to Chimota Mall, Kumasi Mall, we have them. So myself and my wife, we run these. We have run them over 10 years now.
Yeah, 14 years.
Construction company. So
okay, so that's the fashion industry. You've got a number of outlets there to do with fashion.
Yes.
Construction, yes. Okay. You've got a construction company. Give us an idea of what sort of works you've been doing within the construction industry, please.
Right. So we build our own apartment. We are developers. So we do as you know, funding is different on the continent. So the profits we have from our businesses, we put some of them in building units for people to stay there, rent them. So we have some of them in Accra, some of them in Marseille, Nelly. And I write books as well, so I have 8 books.
How many 8? Yeah, you are so busy writing. I don't know where you get the time for anything else, but yeah, well done. So you're an author of 8 books.
Yes, I share the things as a young African growing up, the things that I wish I knew. Having gone through our society, the education that we have, the things that are obviously absent, and which should be taught or should be known by many of our young men. So those are the things that I write about. My Facebook is about the mindset to develop if you want to start a business as a young person in Ghana or Africa. I've written about financial education. That's streamline, how to teach yourself money. And there's resilience. As you know, you have to be tough to build a business. And if you want to overcome the colonial programming that we've been subjected to for all these years, you need different kind of information so that you can be tough from within, because you're going to meet a lot of things. I've written about unlimited opportunities. Many people say that there are no opportunities. I say that they are in abundance. The challenge is in your ability to switch the mind that we have developed as Africans. I've written another one is African advantage, seeing all the advantages here. There are many, but they are not in the standardized definition of what they call advantage. There is self-development. You can really go through this when you are obsessed with upgrading your content knowledge all the time. The other one is financial education, financial freedom, and the other one is financial intelligence. So these are some of the things that we've done. And I have channels, Facebook, YouTube. I go to TV stations, radio stations. I teach in P. I'm a Santiman. I teach a lot of the things in P because it's just on me. That much of the information that can help our people to think rightly and organize themselves and take charge of our lives, they are not in our local content per se. There's a belief that the ones that they are teaching in school, they work. Really, they don't. But the cultural shift that we are looking at, I think a lot of this technical understanding of things must be brought to the language, because many of our people may not speak the English. And even if you speak the English, the culture in the context that you speak it is also very much key. And so I think that taking them in the language that many of the people understand, will see significant results. And we have seen serious results, total shift of minds, those who can speak, those who cannot speak, and people taking charge of their own destinies, controlling their finances, building businesses. Those are the results that we are seeing, and those are the things that we are committed to.
Absolutely brilliant. And that's what's going to be needed. And, this is what we talk about here on the Big G Galaxy, Afui, changing the mindset, because we recognize that, our mind has been programmed to see the world and to see our destiny in this world in a particular way. And, they have been so successful with that programming, because most of us go through school, college and university, like 15 years in a system at least. And in all of that time, we are, tunnel visioned into believing that we need to acquire all these skills just to get a job, a job, just over broke, and, there are people with PhDs, masters, and all the rest of these high level qualifications across the continent of Africa with no jobs. And, they feel that they're an absolute failure because they haven't managed to get a job. And some will go to perilous lengths to try and reach, greener pastures to get a job. But what you're saying is that you need to change your mindset, look within, and then think outside of the box and see the opportunities that are there in abundance. So let's home in, shall we, on one or two of your books and your titles. There are so many. Let me start with this one: financial intelligence, achieving financial independence, investing and building wealth in our culture, financial systems for financial freedom. I'll just read the paragraph here that you sent me. It says, it takes making intelligent financial decisions to gain financial independence. What a powerful opening statement there. It takes making intelligent financial decisions to gain financial independence. So clearly, what your work is all about is trying to free up our people from the system so that we can become financially independent. And you say that there are financial laws that must be understood and put into practice for us to have financial freedom. The wealthy invest while the rest of the people either only spend money or save money. We're going to have to talk about that, because people think saving money is the way forward. But you're saying, it's not about saving money. It's about investing money and making intelligent financial decisions. Financial freedom comes from investing the money that comes to us in income-generating assets, vehicles that continually bring money. Systems are prudent. And when you say vehicles, I know you're not talking a car, because the minute you buy your car, that's a liability, not an asset. So, but... So we know you're using vehicle not in its physical term there. Systems are principles that make things happen. Systems are processes that work together to bring certain results. The world runs on systems, and wealth creation takes systems. It takes financial intelligence to understand financial systems, and those who understand financial systems easily achieve financial freedom. Culture is an educational system. It becomes very challenging to see wealth in your culture without a proper understanding of your culture. Once your sense of history is wrong, your education becomes limiting. Don't leave money idle. Find a way to grow the money that comes to you. The way to multiply money is by making money work for you in tools like businesses and investments. So I think, family, that helps us to see why, our guest has so many different businesses. Over to you, my brother. I want you to elaborate on that opening piece of your works, one of your books I've just read.
Thank you. I wrote Financial Intelligence just the other time. I do seminars in Ghana as well. So the financial results that we have, if you look at your financial situation now as an individual, they directly reflect the kind of intelligence you have on money or on finance. Intelligence is a combination of the knowledge that you have and the skill set that you have built out of that knowledge, which means that when a problem to be solved, the intelligence level of the people involved prove the level of problems that we solve, or the quality of problems that we solve. And that takes a lot of understanding in terms of system. The world runs on systems. The creator, even the universe, is a whole complex system. The human body is a system. Mm-hmm. Everything that we see around is a system one way or the other. And so the problems that we see, they are also systems. And as Africans, if you look back, we've been at the sacrifice of this global financial system. And what we see in Kenya is just a direct reflection of that. Mm-hmm. That the whole continent, in Ghana, for instance, when you're there, those in America, I don't hear them say that the dollar has gone down so that they are. That's a whole complex system that is creating poverty towards the whole generation. Now, if you don't understand the system, you will just sit back and say that, oh, it's because these guys are wicked. There's little that they can do if you look at the complexities. Yeah, of course, we can fight. But based on the inheritance, what we have gone through as a people, and where we are, the structures, the political structure that we have, the legal systems that we have. You look at if you come to Ghana, the legal system is basically an English system. Mm-hmm. But how do you develop a system to govern the people when their culture is not involved? They did not develop these systems to handle their own situation, which means that somebody has superimposed these things so that they can continue to keep you at a level that they want you to be kept. Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to finances, it's the same. And that is why the interest rate in Ghana has been double digit all these years. Since the day I was born, I've never heard of single digit inflation in a country or interest rate, which means that if you want to create wealth in Ghana and you use those fiscal system, it's colonial. It's very difficult for you to do well. Yet, majority of our people are sent through an education system that tells them that this is the way to build it. That's why many of our people who have gone through school continue. So if you come to our society, you see that the graduates, the PhD people, the engineers, the doctors, the accountants, when they complete school, they are waiting for help from the government because that is what the education gave them. And those who didn't go up to secondary school level are the ones doing the farm or doing farming or selling or building something for themselves. So if you strike an average, you will see that those without degree have been able to take care of themselves better without anybody giving them job than those that you have pushed through school, which if you take the government job from them, they have nothing. You know, so it depends on your understanding. And I say that, okay, I have my grandfather, my mother's father, he never stepped to any school. He was not in any classroom. He did not speak this English. He had a track, tipper track. So when I was young, I saw him. He was stuck by his son on one of his lands when he was around 80, 90, that he could not do anything. It was one of the sources of income that he had because he was selling the sand that he packed when his truck was working. Mm-hmm. This was the co-farm. This was somebody who had orange farm. He had goat. He had sheep. Mm-hmm. And he never stepped. The other grandfather who was a trained teacher didn't have anything. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that to say that the information that you need to control your finances and to have financial freedom is not in this kind of education structure that we have. Mm-hmm. Basically, job. And if you don't have financial freedom, you really don't have freedom. Because the one who has financial freedom is the one who can say that I'm not going to work for the next 2 years, 3 years, and still be able to live. And many of our people cannot do that, especially those on salary. Why? Because the information to create that freedom is being distant from them or distanced from them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, so true. And you know, from our perspective on the Big G Galaxy, for me, one of the reasons why financial freedom is so important is because it then frees you up, you know, to do the work that we need to do towards elevating our community and uplifting our people. You know, if you're tied to a 9 to 5, basically you're giving all your time, all your skills, all your talents to that employer and that institution, which is probably the same institution, you know, that is crippling us as a people. You know, it's like we're, Dr. Abu would say, complicit in our own galleys. You know, we are putting the noose around our own neck, and then another one of us is removing the trap door, you know, because it's a job. And that's what our job is telling us to do, But if you have financial freedom, then, we can turn our backs on the Eurocentric system and we can begin to develop ourselves, our people, our nations in its own cultural way. These countries. So, what we're talking about here on an individual level is also equally true on a national level. These countries of ours, like Ghana and Kenya and all the other African countries, are not independent because they keep borrowing. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit from a financial perspective, why maybe we should not borrow, or if we do borrow, what the sort of terms and conditions ought to be and how we should invest that money, so on the individual, so on the national level. Say something about borrowing from if you're working towards financial independence, financial freedom as a country or as an individual or as a family, what do you need to bear in mind when it comes to borrowing, please?
Okay. So if you look at the country level, IMF and all these institutions, the way to cripple us and to still have us under control is debt. Mm-hmm. It's debt. So it's a control mechanism that they have created for all these African countries. And so let's say the other time Ghana's cedi to $1 was 5 cedis. Today it's 15 or more, which means that if Ghana owes $1 billion, if it's 5, if it's 15, it's 5 billion cedis that they have to go, and pay that. Now that is 15 or more, you have to gather 15 billion cedis to go and pay the same dollar. Mm-hmm. It's a mechanism that they have created to control us. At the individual level, consumer debt to eat, buy TV, to change your room. That one will also make you, for lack of a better word, a slave. Mm-hmm. Because in their system, they only build with debt. So the West, that's why sometimes when I sit back and I hear them say that, okay, billionaires in America, billionaires in England, I said the structures that you are using to create these billionaires, the Africans don't have them. Mm-hmm. So if you want to classify your billionaires, you have to be fair to say that do they have the same infrastructure to create that? We don't. So they are being business people use debt in their country to build businesses, develop. For instance, if you're developing in Ghana, and unless I'm developing 10 million city apartment, I'm not getting any money from the bank. Mm-hmm. And if those who even go to the bank to get any money, it's maybe 20-30% a year.
Wow. Right. And so what we can see is that the system that they have when it comes to borrowing is one to put you in debt. It's the system is designed to make it easy for you to borrow, but then once you do, usually sometimes you'll have to even put up an asset and borrow against an asset, and then if you default on that loan, you lose the asset. And so this is how the banks, actually accumulate so much assets. I mean, how many of us know people who have, say, for example, in the UK, bought a house and they've taken out a 25-year mortgage on the house, and for 20 years, the job's going good, the income's coming in, they're paying the mortgage. In the 21st year, say, maybe they become ill and the money that they're getting in is no longer able to cover the mortgage. Default on the mortgage, 1 month, 2 months, 3. That bank is ready to take back your house that you have been living in and paying for 20 years. And they will then make a claim on your house, take your house and sell your house below the market value so that they can take back the money that they owe from the 5 years that you've defaulted on at a huge interest. And you're lucky if you even get back what you've been paying over the last 20 years. This is the wickedness of the system.
Yeah, because that system was created to enslave. Uh-huh. And so the debt in that structure is for them to create wealth. It's not for mortgage. It's not for car. Mm-hmm. It's not for student. So you look at it well. Those who have used that system to create wealth at the top 1 or maybe 0.1%, because that really is the reason for debt. Bond the people so that you can become wealthy. Mm. So you basically work for the institutions that give you those products all your life. So it's a way to save the same system so that they will become rich and you become that is. But you see, the unfortunate thing is they've been able to educate us to embrace it. So they put it in the school.
Yeah.
Say that, okay, you need this kind of mortgage, you need car loan, it's convenient, you need this credit card. So they've been able to wholesale the education, so the people have no allowance to even question it.
Yeah.
But you only use that kind of structure, the debt structure, to build assets, because the assets are really fundamental. The foundation of it is the debt that they use. So that's why those who are owning a lot of these hotels and apartments, these buildings, they have debt in them. So the individual trying to use the credit system to live, that is the way to own your future. You'll never be financially free.
So making intelligent decisions about, your finances, what to borrow, what not to borrow, how much to borrow, at which right time to borrow, what interest rate, what the interest rate is, and then very importantly, what use you put that money to. So give us some examples. So someone's gone to the bank and they've said to the bank they want 10,000 to start up a business. The bank has said no. They said, okay, give me 10,000 to buy a car. The banker said yes. Okay, here's 10,000 to buy a car. What should that person do with the 10,000, for example? I mean, this is not advice. We're not sending people out to do this. We're just having this, hypothetical conversation here. What if you got that 10,000 from the bank? What would you do with it?
For me, business, you may not even necessarily need a loan per se. What you need is your equipment, your expertise, your skills, to pick an idea and turn it into something that generates income. And so if you have never done any business, the likelihood that you are going to go through processes of errors and mistakes, that likelihood is very high. So if I'm starting, I don't know anything about it, I don't have to have somebody's money, especially in the form of loan. I have to go through the process to understand what I'm getting into. And after I've made some bit of errors, if I need money, then I may even go to the bank to get money. So I will not put it as I have 10,000 to start a business. I would rather say that what do I... Okay, the other day somebody sent me a message. He's a Ghanaian in England. He said, I've listened to you for a while, and you said that we should do something. We should not depend on one source of income. And that will make... So I was thinking. So he identified an opportunity. He saw that there were no taxis in the area that he was. So he pulled something, and he and his partner have been able to start a taxi business. And he says that I make 10 times what my salary was making.
Wow. In a short while, he's identified a gap, basically, and he said, there's no taxi services here. People, everywhere around the world, people rely on taxis. Yeah, and so he set up a taxi business and earning 10 times his salary.
Yes, and you should start it with the little you have. You're going to make mistakes, errors. So don't start with so much. Anything, even if it's one thing that you can sell over the internet or in the community. Anything that can
start small and grow. I'm so yeah. I mean, over the years, I've started many businesses, and I remember the first big business I started, I got a lump sum of money from a job that I had been working at for some time, and they were making people redundant, and they were paying them out large redundancy sums of money. So I thought, great, yes, I'm going, yes, I'm ready. And I took that money and invested it in a business. And what I should have done is I should have started small. I shouldn't have put the whole amount into that business. And so family, take it from someone who has been bitten and learned the hard way. Start small, test the market, and learn from your mistakes. Do any adjustments that you need to adjust before you scale up. Don't go investing 10,000 in that business. If you can start by just on a smaller scale with just 500, maybe even 1,000, start small. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. So you're saying, the startup failure rate is very high. I can attest to that as well. Startup failure rate is very high. The chances are that, you're going to have to learn along the way, family. And so, and also look to see what the need is. What service could you be providing to your community? And start there. Yes.
Because if you don't have access to funding, where I am, I see that when it comes to huge funding, there's still some bit of it's not there still. It's still the system that runs to make sure that the white male is there at the top anyway.
Right.
So what he has to go through to get access to big funds, the African would have to struggle, do more, go extra to have the same access.
That is so true. It's the same in the UK, actually. The chances of our young people being able to get 10,000 from the bank is very, very slim indeed. Now, what would you suggest to people about working together collaboratively, the cooperative kind of approach, about our people working together, pooling their skills and expertise together, forming syndicates and then going out and doing something together? Is that something that you advocate?
Yes, I would. But what I say is that it should be an African whose mind has been repaired. African still thinks like
with an African whose mind has been repaired, and then you dropped out. So please pick up from there.
Okay, the African whose mind has been repaired. It means that the African who has gone to study history beyond colonization and slavery, who has proper understanding of our people. Because if the African, I think that all of us have been pushed through a system that has, made us not humans. Because the more you have the content of those who have always sought to put us down, the more you don't see your values. So once you don't see your value as Africa, you become impatient with your own people. And we have Africans who are angry with their own people, and they have a lot of questions innerly. They may not even speak them out. Some of us still believe that we are not competent people. We are not. Many of our people even believe that there is some care somewhere on us because they lack the history. So the African who has studied the history will be able to at least repair this damage, even though we go through this damage every day. You'll be able to repair that. And once you repair that, you have your sense of dignity as an African and your pride. And you'll be patient to work with another African who has had that kind of work done on themselves. I think that's the best way to start. Other than that, they will still use the same mechanism as the European is using.
Oops, you've dropped out again. My brother Kwebena, you were saying that, we have to work with people whose mind has been repaired, who have decolonized their mind, because otherwise we're going to be working with people who are impatient with their own people, believe that we're cursed, probably don't think we're going to succeed anyway. And I think many of us have had that experience. We're here in the diaspora, and our heart and our desire as Pan-Africanists is that we'll be able to work in partnership with our brothers and sisters on the continent. And many of us have tried to start up different types of businesses, farming businesses, goat businesses, construction business, all different types of businesses. And the stories, it's not unique to the continent. Many of us have tried this even in the Caribbean. And we hear the stories, of our people eating the seed before they even plant it. You know what I'm saying? And you've just explained why that is, because they don't see the value in their own, and they don't think the business is going to succeed anyway. So it's like, why plant the seed to rot? Might as well I use the seed and finance, my children's education, or buy food, or do this or do that. So we never see the harvest. You can relate. Because our people's always eating the seed. So now you are saying to us, which is very good advice, the people who you do business with on the continent are those who have knowledge of their history, have decolonized their mind, and their mind is repaired. Obviously, that doesn't guarantee that they're not going to still eat the seed, but at least that business would have a better chance of getting off the ground, I think is what Yeah, you're saying here.
Yes.
Good advice. Thank you
because
for that.
there is, some of us on the continent may have the culture.
Some of us on the continent may have.
All right. So I'm saying that there's the culture, there's the African culture, and there's consciousness. So those of us on the continent may have the culture, but the consciousness is key. And the consciousness is constructively gained. It comes out of the study of who we are beyond slavery and colonization. And so you can meet an African who's a chief here, and he's so culture and traditions, but he does not understand the European hegemony and the mechanisms that they have put in place. And he the chief, the white boy in slippers, to come and sink borehole for him, because that's not the culture, the consciousness to deal with other race may not be that strong. So I say that look for not just the African with culture, but the African with some consciousness as well. So they understand the global powers that we're dealing with. It is key. Those who have that patient and collaborative, because I think the foundation is the history that we have, because that corrects almost everything. And that is why I work with, actually, studying our history, learning it, seeing, the great things that we have done, has made me comfortable and calm and patient, and still ambitious as well, because it corrects the errors in the memory, so that you can shoot. Yes, and so I would say that push that on, because our people mainly, our source of information is if you come to Ghana, it's religion, Christian church from morning to evening. So many of our people are not aware that there are other forms of information that they need to succeed on this earth. And that kind of information will push them on them in our schools and in our churches, unfortunately. And so you think that he has this degree from University of Ghana? Yes, but still not sure of himself. And that's why you can see now many Ghanaians, managerial positions, were educated, leaving their work in Ghana and coming to do cleaning or some menial job in England. Why? It's not just because of the currency. It's because of the people who don't have self-value.
I think you've dropped out again, beloved. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, absolutely agree. We have to make sure that, therefore, that we do more work on the ground to find the people with that level of consciousness, or do the work. It's like we need to have our own schools, our own finishing schools, the sort of schools that are teaching our people about who they are. Just imagine going through school, college, and university and not knowing, what the accomplishments have been of our ancestors, not knowing about our former glory, our former empires, and our great kingdoms and cities, and what we were able to accomplish. And you've just said it's so important that we do know all of that, because it makes you more ambitious. It gives you the confidence that you need to go forward, and also you can get so many ideas for businesses from looking at what our people accomplished in history as well. So, for example, today, most of our people are just digging out, they're just doing the mining, they're digging out all the minerals, putting it on trucks, and it's all going abroad where it's being refined, and then it's coming back to us at, 20 times the price. I've got a little clip to play. You won't be able to hear it down the phone line, but if you listen via the station, you'll be able to hear the clip that I'm going to play. Do you want to quickly try and get an earphone in so that you can hear it via the station?
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay, that's great. And then come in afterwards. This is something that I just posted last night on my TikTok channel, and it's how to make Africa great again. Let me just play this clip.
We've been focusing on development the wrong way. It's not about, our wealth doesn't lie under the ground. Our greatest resource has always been above ground. It's our people, it's our brains. And one of the things that all these experiences of living in different parts of Africa did is that it made me very passionate about Africa. And you can't go around the continent and not fall in love with it, right? It's truly beautiful. There's so much potential that we have. But unfortunately, I also became a bit bewildered because I saw that we had all these people that were working very hard. Every corner of the continent that I went to, we were working very hard, trying to make a living. And in my geography class, I was told that Africa has all these minerals. We have gold, we have diamonds, we have oil, some of the world's greatest stores of minerals. So I couldn't reconcile these two things. Why are we poor if we have people that are working so hard and all these minerals that we have in the ground? I just couldn't understand it. Around the age of 11, I got my answer about why we were poor. We were living in Botswana at the time, in a small town called Selibipikwe. The livelihood of Selibipikwe comes from a copper mine. They mine copper and nickel. And so every year, when you get to grade 6, you get a chance to go and visit the mine to understand what drives this town. So we went to visit BCL, that's the name of the mine. Put on our little hard hats, went down and lifted down into the depths of the shaft to see how this copper was mined out of the ground and everything. Then as we toured around the mine later on, I saw the piles of ore. And I said, so what happens to this ore that we have here? And they explained to me, we ship it to Norway. I said, and then what happens after that? So we bring it back to Africa and we sell it to our neighbors for 20 times the price. Or it's sold to our neighbors for 20 times the price. So it gets exported to Zimbabwe and other countries that need to make copper cables. And so I realized what was going on. We, instead of focusing on digging up the minerals from the ground all this time, we should have been focusing on developing the expertise to actually convert those minerals into the refined ore so we can get that 20 times income. We've been focusing on development the wrong way. It's not about, our wealth doesn't lie under the ground. Our greatest resource has always been above ground. It's our people, it's our brains. Unless we focus on developing our human capacity, we will never get anywhere as a continent. And we need to forget about those minerals that we have on the ground and focus on developing our intellect and our people.
Right,
we've been focusing on development the wrong way. It's not about, our wealth doesn't
clip there.
lie under the ground.
So in that clip, our beloved brother was, making us realize that we've been focusing on development the wrong way. Our wealth is above the ground, not below the ground. And that is so true, I think, because although Africa is minerally rich, it's financially poor because it's making the wrong financial decisions. Why is it making the wrong financial decisions? We've just learned here that's because we're not applying financial intelligence to the decisions that we're making. So you could have the most amount of wealth in your backyard, but if you don't have the intelligence to know how to maximize the wealth from those minerals that you have in your backyard, and you allow other people to come in and exploit it and to fool you to get it for next to nothing, you will always be financially poor. So let's go back to our brother and just make reference to another one of his books because he's the author of a number of books. This one is about self-investment and personal development and growth for long-term success, because we have to be able to make the right financial decisions. It's not just about working hard. You can work hard all your life. The minute you can't work again, your life conditions change. So it's about those investments that you make. So studying is so important. And he says, study for life, read for life. You know your uniqueness, you know your unique gifts, bring those out. And you can do that by investing in yourself. School education is wholesale. That is why they give us the same content, same books, same tests. But your uniqueness will require you selecting very special books, gain specific knowledge that will help you gain that special mindset and skill set you need for that unique future that you want to create with your life. This will happen because you subject yourself to self-investment, personal education, personal growth. Create your life curriculum, and that is what personal development is about. You can read more about that in his book, Self-Investment, Personal Development and Growth for Long-Term Success. Now, they don't even tell you this in school, do they, Brother Quebina? In school, they're like, yeah, this is what you're going to sit. This is the exam you're going to do. But here you are saying, no, we're all unique. We all have our special skill set. And our knowledge should be specific. Elaborate on that a bit more, please.
Okay. So, many people, I did science. Then I went ahead to do engineering. No, science, I was because I was good with mathematics. But then I had innate gift that I came with. Mm-hmm. The science was not designed to bring those gifts out. Mm-hmm. And so, the school education will give you a certificate. And so whether you have A or B or whatever. But to face life, you can't face life with that kind of content that they give us in the classroom. Mm-hmm. That's why if you look at the results, those who are doing well in this life are those who have been able to press themselves to bring the sweetness in them out. Mm-hmm. And that comes from them subjecting themselves to learning, constant learning. And so the kind of information you need to face life, like knowing yourself, your talent, and knowing where those talents link with the need in society, in the world, is the other thing is, we mentioned it, knowing your history as an African. The other thing will be financial information, financial knowledge. And then the other will be how to even build a product or service that the society needs. These are all things that you learn yourself in order for it. So if you look at any society, anybody who's doing who is doing well, you see that they've been able to identify themselves and they are focused on that one, polished it, and now it's valuable. So people follow that, and that will come from self-investment.
Self-investment. We often talk about here about know yourself, know thyself, which, as you said, includes our history. And, we look at that in terms of our history, our identity, our culture, and, but there's another deeper level that you've just touched on there in terms of knowing yourself. Know your talents. Know your skill set. Know what you're good at. Know what the gifts are that you've come into the world with. Know, what you enjoy doing and are good at. And therein lies, what you should be investing your time and energy in to polishing up those gifts. I suppose the people who are really challenged are those who are multi-talented. It's like, they're pulled all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to open up the lines now because we've got 32 minutes or so before we reach the top of the hour, and I want to go over to another topic at the top of the hour. We've been talking for almost an hour now. It's gone so quickly. So, we welcome you again. I've got a message here from our sister Iola who says, can you send me information about the brother's books, please? Yes, I've got many links to his books. You can get all of these on Amazon. But yeah, if you want me to send you links to his books, just let me know and I will certainly forward those to you. Rise Up Sis Iola. I'd definitely do that for you. So give us a call, family. You know the number to call in on. It's the Big G Galaxy Alfiwi, the only de-brainwashing station. It's a community talk show. Let's have the conversation about the importance of becoming self-sufficient. The number is 0203 289 6504. That's 0203 289 6504. And if you are calling from outside the UK, just drop the first 0 and put +44 in its place. +44 is the area code. Okay, so give us a ring. If you want to call free of charge, you can do so via Skype. Our Skype contact name is Official Galaxy Alfiwi Radio. Official Galaxy Alfiwi Radio. We're having a conversation with Brother Kwebena Oben Darko, who has set up, many businesses, and it's all about becoming self-sufficient. Okay, we've got about 3 or 4 callers on the line, and I'm going to go through the callers in the order that I've added you to the line. So first of all, let's welcome back caller 726. Greetings, caller 726. Who do we have on the line?
Greetings, it's G on the line.
Rise up, G. Welcome.
Yeah, I just want to highlight just 3 points. Yeah, because first point is that I agree with what your guest was saying about starting off small and working your way up. Because I had a conversation with somebody, and they were trying to do the opposite way around, starting off high. And I was trying to explain that even Tesco's, as a superstore today, started off as a market store once upon a time. So it's very important that starting off small and don't jumping at the deep end, as they say.
Yes.
Another thing that I
before you do, just to add to that, because when you go to these business schools, they're giving you the business education of someone who's got, say, 100,000 to invest in a business. They don't start you small. They don't tell you the Tesco stories or the Sainsbury's stories. I remember before Sainsbury's had all their superstores, they had one small little store in Peckham Rye Lane. You had to squeeze to go down the aisle. Oh, you know that one there? You had to squeeze to go down.
I remember, you used to start up at one point and work your way all the way around the sides and then pay at the other end.
Yes.
I remember. Yeah,
and they don't tell you those stories in business schools. But they want to tell you about, global institutions, global organizations with multiple departments. So, then our people, they come out these business schools and they think, right, I need 100,000 to start a business. I need 10 staff. I need all these departments. I've got to invest in marketing, this, that. But start small.
Yeah, and another point I'm going to make, this one people may find it a bit, may not agree with it, but when you're going into business, and especially if you're going into business with somebody else, you've got to study that person's character. If they have addictions, you're going to have problems. If they're womanizers, they drink too much, whether they're shopaholics, gamblers, if you do business with them, you're going to have problems. So it's very important that you study the people that you want to go into business with. Study them, and study them. Don't tell me you're even studying them. Just study them.
Yeah. Imagine you getting into business with someone who's got a gambling habit and they're responsible for the finances and you didn't know. Oh, my days. Yes.
Exactly.
Real. Yeah.
And the last point I want to make quickly, I was watching a program about a month ago. It finished about a month ago. It was a series. It was called Double Your Money. And what it was like a game. It was like a game show. What you had about 10 contestants, couples, and the host, the presenter, will give them £100, and they will have like 24 hours to double their money.
Okay.
Then those that doubled their money went through to the next round. Those that didn't were eliminated. Then the money will increase to like £400, and they will have like a week to double their money. And it went on until they finally got the winner at the end. But what was interesting about the program was it was the ideas that they came up with in order to double their money. Some of it was so simplistic. The simple things like car washing, baking cakes and selling it in the market, hosting blind dating shows and all kinds of things. It was very interesting program. But those are things that we could do within our own families, in our community, for ourselves. You don't have to go to all these, like you were saying, these grand business schools and grand people telling you coming up with all these high-rolling nonsense.
Yes.
You could just start off with simple things like that.
Rise up.
Simple things like that.
That's a great one.
I'm gone,
Thank you so much, Brother G. Enough respect. That's a great one, isn't it? Sit around a dining room table with the family and play the game. Double your money. Daddy says, okay, I've got £100. Right, go out and double it. Whoever doubles it, will add to that. And I used to always say to the young people in my area, there's a car wash business waiting to be had. And that is, washing people's cars outside their house. You walk down the street, you see people with dirty cars outside their house, probably too busy to go to the car wash. All you need is a bucket and a hose. They can plug the hose in or what have you, or you get have your little van or something with water supply and just wash people's car outside the house, charge them £10 a time, say, and you do 10 cars and look, you've got £100 in your pocket right there and then. And you could do that on one street. The other one is, cutting people's hedges, doing people's gardens at their front. You don't even have to go into their house, just do the front. And that's another business right there. There are so many simple businesses that are just waiting for some young genius to do. Rise up for that, G. Thank you so much. Rise up, Brother Aston. Welcome.
I'm here as well.
Yeah, so I've got Brother Aston, Brother Akram, and I've got Littlemore on the phone. Is anybody else on the phone?
Thank you.
Yeah, greetings.
Rise up, Brother Aston. Welcome.
Oh, yes, greetings, Galaxy family, and greetings to your guest. I haven't got his name because I was just figuring in and out of the program.
It's Brother Kwebena, Obeng Darko.
Kwebena, okay then. Greetings, Brother Kwebena. Question to you, right? Because I feel that Brother G has covered most of the things that I was going to highlight as well. But one question I would like you to, have you ever come across a situation, and I'm going to call it financial international prejudice? In other words, like as a diasporian who's looking to invest in Africa, for instance, in the continent, right? That I find, and I'm hearing that there's a discriminatory action towards some of us because we have the finance and the means of finance as well. Have you ever come across that yourself?
At the institutional level or at the individual level? Individually, yeah. Individual, okay. It's not systemic per se. It's just the same way we, if let's say you're in Ghana and you have not traveled to, let's say, England, what we are being on television, the stories we have heard is that they are rich, isn't it? So we have that understanding that the people who are coming from these areas come with a lot of money. That's the average. Yes. So I think it goes off when you yourself, you understand and they understand you. But I know it exists. People will just say that, okay. And it's not only even Ghanaians who have lived here and traveled and come back. They treat the same. the same treatment. But they adjust when you start bargaining, because our market is open. You have to bargain. You know. But it's not something
I am familiar with Ghana because my ex-wife, myself, my ex-wife come from Ghana, you know, and we had some properties there as well. So this is why I'm asking you this question directly, you know, and I thank you for answering it for me.
Thank you, sir.
Right, thank you.
Rise up, rise up. Thank you for that. So, you know, it goes back to that work that needs to be done around the consciousness raising, the assessment of people's knowledge, isn't it, of where they're at as well in terms of their history, etc. So let's go over to Brother Akram. Rise up, Brother Akram.
Yeah, grand rising to you, Sister Shanice, and grand rising to our brother Fabina, and also to Brother Aston and Brother G, and Brother Sister Livermore. And, you know, it's a great show. It's a great show that you have brought on, and it's something, as you know, that's very dear to my heart. And I mean, I could listen to this brother, and we can have a conversation even by ourselves. I mean, I would love to get his number and we can talk sometime because, you know, as you know, I'm very much into Africa, and I have had business in Africa. I mean, as I said, I've had one of the biggest block factory making in Tanzania. I've also built boats in Africa. You know, I've had taxi business, I've had lorry business, I've had all of these sort of things in Africa. So, you know, I understand. And one of the things that the brother just pointed out, I mean, I've got to ask the question. And the fact is, do you have challenges? But you have challenges not only from the authorities, but also from the people, even the people that you employed. And the main problem that is crippling us, and I'm sure the brother can see that, can probably reiterate to that because he has business, is the dishonesty about it. And if many of our people were honest, we can move forward. But unfortunately, you know, because you don't need a lot of money to create a business in Africa. Mm-hmm. In Africa, £5,500 is enough to start a business. I know me and my wife, we tried that with many people. But the problem is the dishonesty. You know, somebody wants to do a sewing business. Say, okay, I want a sewing machine. You give, £500, you can get a sewing machine and whatever else, because many of the people don't have money and the banks are not lending money. In fact, I'm telling you right now, you can go to Dar es Salaam, right, and many of the houses in Dar es Salaam, it's only in the last 10 years that the banks start lending money. But many of the houses you see built there are built with people and they don't owe any banks for those things. It's probably the same in Ghana. I haven't been to Ghana, and you probably find that also, right? And the brother can probably maybe give us some clarity on that. So, yeah, I mean, the fact is, it's a very good show. And I'm very glad that you also played that clip of Brother Fred Swanica, because that's one of the questions I was thinking of asking the brother. Does he know of Fred Swanica? And he's a Ghanaian brother like himself, but he's got business, schools and things around. So I'd like to know, because I've been promoting Brother Fred Swanica because, as I said, his mindset goes along with my mindset, that of developing Africa and so forth, right? And a lot of people seem to have issues about him because they see him that, you know, he's not seem to be coming from an Afrocentric way, but I think that he's coming from an Afrocentric way. And that clip that you played just now on him shows that the brother is thinking, and it's about developing ourselves, you know what I mean? And the resources is within ourselves, right? Many of people don't have to be poor. All these people sitting outside with their degrees, if they only change their mindset, they can do something. But unfortunately, they're locked in that thing, or I've studied to be this, and if I don't get a job in that, then I will never move from there. And that is the thing that is holding our people back. I sent you something, Sister Shanice, of a school that friends of mine, when I went to Africa, they said, I went to the university. I met some people there. I did talk with them and so forth. And now today, they have a school, a site. You can say, if you see it, you see. I mean, it's equivalent to any school here in UK, right? These brothers came out from school because I said to them, you don't have to go to America. You don't have to go to UK. Right here in Africa, you can develop yourself. And they developed one of the biggest engineering company in Tanzania. Plus, also they're developing other things alongside of it, right? So it's for those people who come out from the university with their mindset and their brain to get together and start working, as Brother G said just now, start thinking, what can we do? What can we do together? You know, you may have a little bit of money, start working together. Yes, you said maybe 10 of you go down the road, start washing some cars. When you come, you put your money together and you start developing from there. So simple. And Africa is bursting with opportunity. Bursting with opportunity. But as I said, time doesn't permit for us to really go deep into what. So as I said, I'm thankful for the show that you brought in, the brother that you brought in, and I would just like to hear what your brothers have to say on that little bit that I just pushed forward. Because I really pick him up a lot, and I hope that maybe one day we can have a direct conversation.
Brilliant. Do you have any particular questions for our guest as well, my brother?
Well, I hope that some of the questions is in what I said. That maybe that he can give some answers to some of those things. That I've just put forward.
Okay, rise up. Okay, so make a note, Brother Kwebena. Let's go over to our sister Littlemore, and then we'll come back to you for a response to all of the callers.
All right.
Run rising, everyone.
Rise up.
Run rising to all the brothers, and in particular Elder Akram, and to you, Shanice.
Thank you
very
so
good
much.
show.
Thank you.
Yes, it's from the saying, from small acorns do great oaks grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that everyone should start out, where they can, as my mum, to hang your hat where your hand can reach.
Mm-hmm.
What the Europeans started out was, I remember Marks and Spencer, they called them penny stalls. And I suppose Sainsbury started out in more or less the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So we started a business 26 years ago, and we started out with £15.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have assets of over £20,000. And we just plodded along. That was only doing things part-time. So we can see how far you can get when you do things part-time. I met a sister many years ago, and she said, if you are to start a business on the side or a hustle, you must spend every single minute of your spare time to develop it. Mm-hmm. And with your brothers, Kwabena's books, there would be good reading, enabling you to develop yourself.
Yes.
I'm to ask the brother, what would be an amount, say, a Ghanaian wanted to start out business for themselves, what would be the suggested amount that they could start off with, and something that they could obviously manage in Ghana?
Okay.
To Brother Kwabena.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Over to you,
right.
Brother Kwabena.
Okay, so I start with or maybe I answer the sisters first, then I go to our brother, the one who spoke earlier. An amount, I think it depends on the industry. Depends on, let's say if you want to have a kiosk to sell water, sachet water as we call them, 100 Ghana can start that. Sometimes you can even go and talk to somebody who produces it or somebody who sells it on wholesale. And later you go and pay them. So I think it's not so much the amount, unless the person is coming in as a big player, big business person, somebody who has access to a lot of funds and they want to establish a very big business right from the beginning. That person comes with a lot of expertise, connections, understanding already. So that one, if you're going into mining or going to property development, going to the finance sector, or maybe you want to build your hospital, those ones will be significant money. But for ordinary person, trying to start their first business, not with much money available. I think as little as you can. What you need to do is to build a connection, continue to learn, and understand the market, understand the culture. That's the key thing. Come to understand the culture that you live in, the way the people think. If you employ us, how we behave, what kind of expertise that you have to train us to work with us. And even our institutions, they are largely colonial, So how do you deal with such institutions? It's not because they are evil, but they inherited a structure that was designed to destroy them. And they thought that it was designed to promote them. So they try to work with it, and it doesn't make sense. Almost every structure that we have was designed to keep us down. But we took off and carried them along. So we carried cancer. Instead of us to shut them down and build the ones that our people can relate with, we didn't. So with the school, with the religion, with the legal system, almost even with the health system. The way we are struggling to build hospitals, that makes sense. And even look at the trainings that we have given to people who handle all these institutions. There's something that is not adding up. So I would say that it depends on the business that you want to start. But the main thing is give yourself time and go through the process if you have not built any business in Ghana. Even if you have a lot of capital, still come to learn it. Understand the game of the big. And when you come, be patient with us. The brother talked about all this honesty. I would say that these are all effects from what we have gone through as a people and the training that we continue to give to ourselves. Because the average African, you go to church, the Jesus there is white. I go to school, and then come to school, they will give you an English name. Then you add it to your name. If I'm speaking P with my mother, and I go to school now, I have to switch language to English. These are all complications, psychological complications on us. And so you may say that the people are dishonest, but I think it's just the training. So we need to be involved at every level that we are. The greatest gift that we need as a people is to understand what we need to train our people with. The information that our people need that is what is very much key. So,
can everyone remember to put their phone on mute when they join the line, please? Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you, Brother Kwebena. Carry on.
So you pick up, give them information, be patient, speak to them at that level. If you don't speak the language in a particular African country or the community, try to pick one or two words and speak. It makes us very comfortable. And then teach us on how to work to be truthful. We need to be taught that. We need to be taught that because all people are taught. The England there, they were not like that. Somebody had to take upon themselves to say, let's teach the people how to do this. We go to school, so we rely on the family. And so now the family structure is a constructive in terms of teaching them to be ethical and truthful. So I think much of it will come out of the training. Even the officials, when you meet them, don't assume that they know so much and they're doing the evil. I think they work with what they know. Many of them work with what they know. And if you bring it to their attention, generally, many of them will be open to have discussion. Because we are all looking for solutions anyway. And so I think it's a teamwork, and we all should be patient and take it as our responsibility to develop us wherever we are.
Brilliant answer. And I agree with you there. I remember there was a case where I had to help my nephew in Jamaica. He said he wanted to grow coffee. So I bought about 50 plants. We found a place to put them in and grow them. And I left Jamaica, and every now and again I would ring him and ask him what's going on. Has he been to the coffee offices to ask them for help for fertilizers? And he said, oh, not yet, Auntie, not yet. Every time I rang him, he never really was telling me what he was doing. And the story was that he couldn't read or write. Oh. So he couldn't actually go to these offices and ask for, fertilizer, how to read, go to meetings. And that was my error, assuming that he could read and write. And he couldn't, and he was embarrassed to tell me. That business failed, but he still picks coffee, and that was his area of picking berries. And he was one of the highest pickers of berries per box. So I thought, let me give him a chance. But no, he couldn't actually actualize his dream in, doing business with it because, again, not being able to read and write. So, you really have to understand that person, understand the country, and understand the business, what they're going in as well, if you have to give them any opportunities.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, my sis. One thing I would add as well, very importantly, when you're doing business abroad, is that you are there overseeing the business. This is what I would recommend to everybody now. I think trying to run a business from abroad via, third parties, trusted groups of individuals, no matter how well-meaning they are, is almost a recipe for a disaster. 90%, I'd say, of those types of arrangements just don't work. I think you have to be on the ground, overseeing the business to make sure that the business is running how you would expect it to be run or want it to be run, because there is such a big gap between us in terms of, say, our expectations and what they may be able to deliver. And in between that gap, plus with all of the other challenges that I think our people have on the ground on the continent. So, for example, most people don't have savings, don't have money in the bank. They have to earn some money that day in order to put food on the table that day. With living hand to mouth, so to speak, is a major challenge that's going to get in the way of putting money back into the business to turn over the business. And so even the handling of money, when someone's faced with having to pay school fees, put food on the table, get light, get gas, and there's the money from the business, do they put it back in the business or do they deal with their immediate needs? 9 times out of 10, they're going to deal with their immediate needs. And therein lies a big problem. And so sometimes people feel forced into situations because of their circumstances. And even maybe even putting petrol in their car, they may not be able to do so sometimes. And they are with money that they've been sent to buy this or to buy that for the business. And, that led me to realize that's why even a white man then, when they used to do business in Africa, farming or what have you, they've built their house on the land, their farmhouse, and they're there overseeing, what's happening on a daily basis. They see the workers come in. We tried to run a farming project. We were paying for ghost workers, so all kind of schemes sometimes come into play that gobbles up the finances and gets in the way of that money being plowed back into the business, which ultimately, means everybody loses. And then, of course, there is the mindset as well. So there's a huge job to be done there because they've been indoctrinated into believing that we've got a lot of money over here in the UK. We can just walk and pick up money off the street. It don't matter. You can send money today. You can send more money again tomorrow. They don't see the hard work that actually goes into earning and saving that amount of money. They don't see the sacrifices that you've had to make in order to save, to be able to try and then invest in them and in the continent. So we all know it. You go some countries, they call you Tubab or Zungu, or, them things. Yeah, you're different. You're like another tribe. So we've got to break down those barriers. And the good news is that those barriers are being broken down on a daily basis, and the relations that we're building with our brothers and sisters on the continent is strengthening, it's growing. We're in a much better place today in terms of relations with our brothers and sisters on the continent than we were 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So change is happening. It's a costly process for those of us who are like the pioneers, but we are opening doors and making waves. But what we've really got to learn, I think, more than anything else, is to work together. I think that's our biggest problem, being able to work together. Across the continent, you've got the Lebanese working together, the Indians working together, the Chinese working together. There could be 10 Chinese men working in a supermarket, 10 Indian men working in a supermarket, and they just seem to be working together peacefully. You put 10, say, Jamaicans in a supermarket to work together, or 10 Africans in a supermarket to work together. Fight broke out over there, sir. Cussing and going over there, sir. Listen, We know how it goes. We've really got to learn to work together. And once we can do that, I think that will also help us to go a long, long way in being able to uplift ourselves as a people. Let's go over to Brother Kwebena. Sorry, I've got another caller on the line. Our Brother Nusi. Rise up, Brother Nusi. Welcome. After Brother Nusi, no more calls. We're going to go back to Brother Kwebena to wrap up, and then we're going to go on to our next topic. Brother Nusi. Yenge Lumbuki Ambote.
Yes, Yenge Lumbuki Ambote, Sister Shanice. Yenge Lumbuki Ambote to Glenda True, little more. How are you doing? We also say Yenge to Brother Akram and to our dear brothers and listeners. I just have a question and one comment. Yenge means salam, means peace. So the spirit of peace, because you need peace in order to build, to share with your brother before anything else. This is all it means in Kikongo. The comment is the following. I must commend, applaud, give high praise, salute, Yenge to our brother Kwabena Obeng Darko, because he's mentioned something that I found very, very relevant. If you are from a different part of the world, you happen to be melanated, but you grow outside Africa, you don't speak, handle an African language very well, and you want to do business. The brother mentioned it here, and I want to amplify this. It was mentioned in many other contexts. You need to understand the culture of the people that you're going to share the wealth with, and the history. He said, if I understood him correctly, you have to understand what they have inherited. It's not that they are stupid. It's not that they are lazy. It's not that they are thieves. They have inherited a heavy history that has made a culture, and you've got to understand that's the next step. Capitalism isn't the way we are playing it. It isn't an African thing. It was devised by others. Naturally, someone in Ghana, and the brother will confirm this, or in Congo. It doesn't have the capitalism the way we see it in our genes, in the European genes, to build industry and the rest of it. We have a different model. You've got to understand both. So the question now, would my brother, what does Brother Kwabena Obeng Darko think about applying an African model of creating wealth alongside what we have inherited from our oppressors here? Added values, VAT, building industries. Is this the correct way to go, or what does he think? Thank you.
Thank you for that. Really interesting question. I'd want to ask, what is the African model for building wealth, so that we can compare the difference? But anyway, let's go over to our guest, Brother Kwebena.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for that question. I think I had to answer the gentleman. He talked about the educated. Of course, I will link it to the last question. The educated, the kind of education that we have been giving, as you said, was designed for us to get jobs. The jobs, create them. The governments are not creating jobs. So that kind of education obviously does not work. It's not working. So we need to give different information to our people. And once they get that, they can take opportunity, can see opportunities all around them. There are young men in Ghana now who are just going to cassava farming all by themselves. You ask them, why are you in Accra? They have come to struggle, but it's not working. But we have 2 acres in my village. I heard of what you're teaching. I went back, and now I have money. So many of them. There's different products that nobody even respects, but they are in demand in the society. And so I come back to your question, what is the African model? The African model does not have to sacrifice humans for wealth. There has to be that sense of fulfillment and sharing. It's not money at all cost. Doesn't matter. Let's crush everybody and just have money and put everybody. That has never been the African model. And so in our quest to building business, must take along our people. Should not just give them very little money and stay somewhere and say that I've paid you, that is enough, go and handle yourself. If they have problem, we must pay attention to. This is how we manage our. We have time to go to their funerals if we have to go. Sometimes you support them by renting for them. Sometimes you pay them. Sometimes they even do things and you see that this is not good, but you still have to be patient and work with them and train them. You don't just talk to them about business, but you talk to them about life itself. The person has moved from his village to Accra. He doesn't know anybody. Sometimes you have to rent for them. I think that is the way. In terms of technology, I don't place any race on technology. Technology is a shared human achievement. So if the European says that I created AI, you cannot build AI without somebody telling you how to write 1, 2, 3. So technology is a shared human achievement. It's only the Europeans who have tried to say that they actually came up with everything. But all empires, all civilizations have had their own great breakthroughs in innovations. The Africans are included. And those all have built up to this stage. The problem is that they have taken ownership and monetized everything. And now they make us believe that they own everything. So I would say if it's industry that you want to build, take the best of technology. But the human aspect, they use the European approach, where money is placed above human lives.
Money must never be placed above human life. Yeah. So it's like, as an employer or a business partner, being concerned about the welfare of your business partner, the welfare of their family, being concerned about the welfare of your employees, making sure that their needs are being met, and it's almost like taking on a parenting role. Obviously, we would hope that, in so doing, the repayment for that genuine kind of love and concern and extra help that you're giving, is returned or reciprocated in some way. And that what comes back is trust, because that's what you're trying to build, loyalty, and a valued relationship, but at the same time, as Brother G said at the beginning as well, you've got to know the character and the nature and the history of the people who you're working with, because if you are investing all of that time, training, energy and money into someone who has an addiction, for example, it's a recipe for disaster. It's not going to work, is it?
The thing is that the core, our people are communal. If you come to Ghana and you go to any village, they don't know you, they will just open their doors to you. Mm-hmm. It's not because they're not stupid. If you come to Accra and you need help somewhere, they will just open. I think it's just part of us. Mm-hmm.
Let me come in on that, because I agree with you on that. Our people have a heart to help people when they're flat on their face. But why do we not help people and stand with people when they're on their way up or they have the potential to become successful? We have a saying in Jamaica, crab in a barrel. We have a crab in a barrel mentality. That means, if we see someone that's maybe striving to do better than you want to pull them down. And so no one in our community can rise above their neighbor or the other person. And if they do, it's
from where I see,
yeah.
I see that it's more the people who have gone through the system that they left. The school, the religion. That's what I see.
You see it coming through the education system and the religious system.
Yes, the education and the religion more. And so,
but people who haven't gone through their education system, hasn't been indoctrinated with their religion, they have a totally different mentality. They may not be able to read and write. They may not be able to, have an intellectual conversation about, something scientific, but they're likely to be more honest, more helpful, more trustworthy. And maybe it's the non-materialistic ones as well,
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yes, you have higher percentage.
Yeah.
You have higher percentage, which means that when they have gone through that system, you identify that and you bring it up and discuss all the time.
Yeah.
You bring it up and discuss because it's still in them. It's training. It can work.
Yeah.
But robotic management does not work. They will leave the work.
Oh, you've
leave
dropped
the work
out.
and go home.
Yeah. Oh, right. Robotic.
Said,
yeah, they'll leave the work and go home. Okay.
Yes, they don't have money to pay. So that's why you have to balance it with that humanity, and I think they respond more to that with respect, with dignity, and it is tough to do, but it becomes part of the culture of the business. So even those who you give that kind of treatment to, if they don't pay back, it's part. So you will still have higher percentage of people who work with their heart, and we have that in our businesses. Yeah. It's not that we don't have.
So it's like creating family businesses, really. That's what it is. It's about creating that family business where everyone in the business cares for each other. And that's why family businesses are so important and tend to be so successful. One of the reasons why is because it encapsulates all of what we've been talking about is missing when you go out there and try and find employees. You see, with a family business, so for example, if my family was to go into business, we would know, and I would know, who in the family is best with money, who in the family is most creative, who in the family is more likely to make, bad financial decisions, and who are the ones that can save, who are the big spenders. We know that within the family, don't we? Who's more likely to be able to get up early and open up the business, and who's more likely to get up late, and so they be the better ones to come in later and close the business. You already know the character and the nature of the family members who you're going into business with. But when you're starting a new business and employing a team of staff, they can all talk a good talk, but what is their true nature? And therein lies the key to your success or the failure as well of your business, along with making, right financial decisions, etc. Okay, well, we're already over the top of the hour. I'd allocated up to 12 noon for this topic. It's been a really interesting conversation with our brother Kwebena Obeng Darko. You can find his books on Amazon. I've got links to his books as well that I can send you. There are 8 books in total, all to do with making money, working your way towards prosperity, fulfilling, your potential. It's about you investing in yourself and your personal development, and also about you being the change that, about you being the change that we want to see. It's about us promoting unlimited opportunities and being creative, making tough, independent minds of our people, being resilient. I mean, these are all the different titles of his book, how to develop courage and strengthen yourself as an entrepreneur. So, get some of these books, teach yourself financial literacy, teach yourself financial education. And I'm sure by getting the books as well, you can get in touch with our brother Kwebena, who could support you on that journey. If you missed the beginning, when he introduced himself, he's a man who runs a number of businesses with his wife, construction, and other financial businesses, can't remember what they are now, but a number of businesses, and is out there to help and encourage and inspire others, to be great business people as well. Okay, so we've got Brother Geb on the line. Brother Geb, are you ringing up for this part of the show or for the next part of the show? Just to let people know, the next part of the show is to deal with reparations. We have received a statement from the African Emancipation Day Reparations March Committee and the Stop the Magnamese arm of the organisation. It's a statement that has left us all stunned and shocked, and I want to read that statement. I'm expecting a caller to call in to talk to this statement as well. Hopefully they will be calling in and they will do that. But we're going to be talking about where 10 years of marching and protesting and organising has got us. It's not a good place. I don't think it is. Let me know what you think. But we'll go on to that after I take the call from Brother Geb. Rise up, Brother Geb. Welcome.
Hotep, sis, and Hotep to your guests, and to the rest of the family. I had a bit of a follow-up question for the brother, and it's really a follow-up from the question or the question in the comment that our brother made, Brother Nusi. So my question for brother is, what is the purpose of business and what is the purpose of money? Two very specific questions. And how does it fit in? How does it fit in to the African concept of life, namely the matriculation through birth, puberty, initiation, marriage, protection, old age, death, and then entry into the community of the departed, and finally entry into the company of the spirits, which is the African cycle of life. And how does money and business support that cycle of life?
Wow, that's showing itself, I think. But let's see what our brother can do to respond to that very interesting and deep question.
Mr. Shanice,
Yes.
the questions are heavy.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed myself. That is the essence of business. I think business is just a system to organize the society. And then we get financial benefit out of it. It is to show love to our people. It's for our people to enjoy as well. So, for instance, if you build houses, it's not just because you want to make a care, but you're also providing solution. People can get a place to sleep. If you build a hospital so that you can heal people, it's not just because you want to, or you produce a drug. It's not just because you just want to make money because people are sick and you have to have money. I have to have health. But then your core essence is to make sure that you heal the people, and then the society rewards you for that. I think that understanding will help, because after all, when they have gotten all these billions, they now set foundation to say we want to help people. If that is your reason for making all this money, why did you kill everybody to get that money? So you don't need to, because at the end of it, you still want to say that you want to do good for humanity. And so I would say that in the bid to do good for humanity, do it right from the beginning. Don't just kill everything and destroy everything. So for that kind of life, or for the cycle of life, I think every chain has to be solution. So the woman is going to give birth. A good hospital, if somebody provides that as a business, it's good. The child goes to school. Good business, somebody can provide books and clothes for that child. They don't have to become poor in sourcing those services. We have to eat. But you providing us food does not mean that it has to be so much capitalistic. So I think that it is the whole essence is love for our people, mainly.
What a beautiful response. I like that. I mean, Brother Geb, does that answer your question from an African-centered perspective? Business, when we go into business, it's about providing the needs that our people need with love, with humanity, and the financial rewards is a kind of spin-off from that. What do you think, Brother Geb?
Yeah, money, then I think that we are in a very problematic space. And so, because then we're actually in the European paradigm. And so, if the businesses that we open up and the money that we create or generate is truly to be shared, And when I say shared, I mean shared. Then we're moving, in my mind, in the original paradigm in which we was brought into the universe to do. And I'll just land there on that. Problematic, and I think one of those was the religious system. And I just want to remind us all that every European system created is problematic for the African. True.
Sister Shanice, can I just add?
Okay, Brother Nusi. Yes.
Oh,
So I have a question.
Greetings to Brother Gen, who's, in my view, on par with where we need to head. The shift in paradigm. I'm just going to add, your question is really a question of what is the purpose of Homo sapiens sapiens, or spiritual, energy being. The model that we had in everything we do, as far as I can work out, was really to elevate ourselves, to get closer to the uncreated energy ray back in life, as in a physical form, but to remain, if you like, complete, to have gone full circle. You have completed your mission. That's really what I think the depth of the question of Brother Gen was going towards. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I mean, that is a show in itself, stripping everything right back, and asking ourselves, what is the purpose of life? From an economic, political, scientific, astronomical, from all these different perspectives, what is the purpose? What should we really be focusing and concentrating our energies on? We have all been educated, miseducated into believing that this capitalist system is the way forward, and that's how we all need to embrace this capitalist system. But is that really the African way? Most of us would say, no, that's not the African way. We're about sharing and caring. We're about, having a different type of society where we don't have beggars, we don't have poor people, and we don't necessarily, I know we've always had those who are wealthy among us, but those who have had a lot of wealth among us tended to be, say, from a monarchy class, the kings or what have you, the Mansa Musas and the like. But the expectation was that they would give to the poor. They would make sure that there were no poor people. They had a duty and a responsibility, I would say, to look after their societies. And then, and then those with wealth tended to be those who acquired the wealth because of the particular skills that they had and the decisions. Well over into the next segment of the show now. I want to thank everybody that's called into this segment. I want to thank our guest, Brother Kwebena. I've had lots of requests for links to your books. So send me the correct links to pass on, please, Brother Kwebena. Thank you to everybody. I'm expecting